Good evening, everyone. I'm Jane McCarthy.
And I'm Mark Hanrahan. Tenting is one of the most time-honored traditions at Gonzaga University.
Students set up a tent in the middle of campus to secure a seat at some of the most highly anticipated men's home basketball games. It's not easy, though. In fact, it's usually cold outside. It can take time away from classes and tests, too.
So why continue with the tradition many other schools have done away with? 2 on Your Side's Whitney Ward set out to get the answer.
So, full disclosure, I am a Coug. I did not go to Gonzaga, and I've never participated in this tradition of tenting. But several of my colleagues at CREM have. And to hear them talk about it, you'd think it's just the best thing in the world.
Memorable.
Tradition.
Spirited. Connected.
But is it really? I mean, it's warm today, but it is still winter. And frankly, the thought of staying in the grass and spending the night just sounds crazy, which it is. And I've learned that's exactly why they do it. It's the scene at almost every home game at the Kennel. But what you may not know is quite what it takes to get here. It actually starts days before the big game, students milling around campus.
Ready, Christine?
But if you thought this was just like any other day, you'd be wrong. A tweet just went out, the tweet, a single message from the GU Kennel Club that sends students racing from all corners of the campus to one spot.
442!
They're running for a number
Go, Zags.
that will set the tone for the next several days.
You're at 82?
Where'd 80 go?
You know what you're sticky now? 86? 88?
It's what dictates their place in line at Herrick Lawn, home of GU Tent City.
Rain or shine. Am I screwing up?
Dylan Roosh and his friends are juniors.
You just gotta find a way to keep warm.
They've tented at almost every game possible since they were freshmen.
It's all for the love of the game, you know? Do we rip it?
This time they ended up in a good spot, lucky number 7.
Can you ask for much better? ESPN, front row, tent 7.
And in their tent is where they'll stay all night long, even as the temperatures dip below freezing.
If we were 10-100, I probably wouldn't be out here.
I was abroad last spring, so I didn't get to do this last semester, and so it's like, as funny as it is, like I really miss being out in the rain.
I go home and people ask, how was your semester? And I don't even tell my parents how my classes are going. I tell them, oh, I waited for like 27 hours to go to a basketball game.
They tell me they're willing to put in the work to make it into the coveted front row of the student section, because come game time, they'll be the ones on national TV representing Zags everywhere. So after all that, I ask, is it worth it?
At the beginning, when I started my freshman year, everyone said you're gonna have your Zag moment. My Zag moment is every single 10 city I've ever had.
This is why you are a Gonzaga student. Like, this is why we came here. Like, we didn't come here for school. We came here for basketball.
And it's why they say after this game is over, they and 500 to 600 other students will savor the moment and then do it all over again.
My family is from here, so it's a huge tradition, the whole Zag basketball culture. So I'm very excited to be a part of it. The basketball games are crazy and it's just so much fun.
There's a lot of things you have to do, but it's definitely worth it to be in the kennel with everybody.
I really don't like tenting.
Wait a minute, a Zag who doesn't like tenting?
People think it's like a rare thing that people don't like tenting, but I think it's actually a majority of Gonzaga students don't actually like it.
Okay, well she must just be some kind of basketball-hating alien. 1 person in a million, right?
Tenting in the cold in Spokane, it's not exactly the ideal situation.
The whole process is kind of frustrating because we have to wait in line for an entire day just to get your card activated.
And then you spend hours, if not days, sitting outside when you pay money to live somewhere. It seems like something that a lot of people have convinced themselves is fun.
Turns out there are plenty of students who actually just wish they could get a ticket without all the hoops.
Because I worked when the ticket distribution was on, so I wasn't able to get any tickets to the game.
So would you have wanted to if you could have?
Yeah, I would have really wanted to.
It's basically if you don't stand in line hours before, you won't get a ticket.
So you're out of luck.
Yeah.
And like you always hear about Tent City and it sounds like so much fun, but then like
after you do it a few times. It's like, okay, I did it, like I'm done.
Tenting at GU wasn't always such a production. It's evolved year after year for more than a decade.
Some students, as soon as the previous game, the 2 days before, as soon as those doors closed and the game started, they said they were the front of the line for the next game. So I think it grew out of that. Word kind of got around campus. People started lining up and kind of brought out tents.
And so it began officially in 2006.
Number 5.
There's definitely an idea of it's what a Zag fan does, right? Is you wait and you kind of weather the weather and make sure you can get the best spot in the kennel.
Tent number 1, baby.
Gonzaga fell in line with a handful of other major basketball programs like the Paint Crew at Purdue and the famed Krzyzewskiville at Duke. Even as most other universities like Georgetown, Seton Hall, and Villanova have opted for a lottery system. Villanova told me it may pull a few tickets for promotions or ticket runs, but its goal is to leverage interest in basketball to get more attendance at other sporting events.
It's a testament to the entire university, a lot of different hands in play, but mostly it's our students who go ahead and really want to do this because they see value in it.
Has there ever been talk of getting rid of tenting?
No, I think it's an event that we want to make sure is safe, first and foremost, and that it really does what it's supposed to do, which is keep a line.
But what about all those students who don't actually want to stand in line? Gonzaga tells me there's a place for them too.
Some of our students really want a tent, right? And especially for a lot of our first-year students, I think this is exciting to come here and to get to do this. And I think then some other students realize that they still have a really good seat, even if they're seated halfway back, that they can still really enjoy the game and maybe choose not to tent if they don't want to.
Which means there's room for everyone to have their own Gonzaga moment.
In the front row or 20 rows back, I mean, it doesn't change my excitement for the Zags.
So there you have it, and I really have to say this was a super fun story just to put together, to really see firsthand the commitment of these GU students just so they can be the first ones inside these doors. It means a lot to them and to everyone who goes to school here, whether or not they decide to tent. And I do have to say, tonight's game actually for LMU is not a tenting game, but tomorrow's will be. And so that means that there are a lot of hoops that they will have to jump through. They'll be pitching tents starting tomorrow afternoon, and that will include now having to shovel because there is so much snow on the ground. They'll be shoveling out a place to put their tent on Herrick Lawn. Then they'll be spending the night in the cold. And if it does get too cold, below 20 or 25 degrees, the university will give them a short reprieve so they can come inside for the overnight hours. But then they have to get right back out there in the morning, and everyone has to, or at least one person has to be in that tent at all times until tenting is over. But again, as we have said, the students who decide to tent will be more than happy to do it. Outside McCarthy tonight, Whitney Ward, KREM 2 News.
Whitney.